All right, so we mentioned it a little bit earlier. The NFL draft is right around the corner. Just 3 days to go, to be exact. And we already went through Ryan Wilson's latest mock. So now we're going to look at the prospect stock exchange, if you will, with Danny Kanell. What prospects stock that we could buy, what we should sell, who we should hold on, and so forth, as we are just 3 days out from that NFL draft out in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's welcome in the one and only Danny Kanell. Danny, always good to see you. And we're starting with prospect stock to buy in on. And we're talking about a specific tight end who has been linked to the Bears in Colston Loveland. So why is he someone stock that is on the rise that you should buy, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's funny, Jacqueline, because all regular season during the college football season, and for a majority, like the early off season, it was all Tyler Warren from Penn State, and he wins the Mackey Award as the best tight end in college football. Statistically, he's off the charts, but all of a sudden, there's been this real push from Colston Loveland as people have really dove into the tape and the situation that he was in at Michigan, realizing the ceiling might be higher with Colston Loveland of what he potentially could be at the next level. Again, not a knock on Tyler Warren, but he did feel like he played a little bit more of a gadgety type role, which I love the way his offensive coordinator used him. Colston Loveland, more of a traditional tight end, but a very fluid route runner. Looks very natural out there, and I think the sky's the limit for him. He had some of the worst quarterback play at Michigan this past year of maybe anybody in the entire country. So I think he really flew under the radar because he didn't have the big statistical year, didn't have that many touchdowns. But once you put him in a system that could embrace him like a Ben Johnson, think Sam Laporta, the way that he was used in Detroit, and if he has Caleb Williams throwing the football, I could see Colston Loveland having the better NFL career potentially than Tyler Warren. Both of them I like, but I think the stock to buy is Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I was going to say, to your point, throughout the regular season, in the mocks leading up to the last month or so, Tyler Warren was strongly tight end number one, and now we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. Some other prospects here that you're buying in on: Nick Scorton and Matthew Golden. Why are they in this buy column for you, Danny?
So Nick Scorton, for me, is a guy that people overanalyze and they want to knock him because of a weight fluctuation, or maybe he's not the tall, lanky type that you might like from an edge rusher. He played at 6'3", 285 this past season at College Station, in large part because his coach, Mike Elko, wanted him to bulk up, and people said, well, on tape he looks slower. Of course he did. He was carrying like an extra 30, 40 pounds. But in the offseason, brought it down, trimmed it down to 257. But my favorite part about him, Jack, is that you put on the tape and he's always around the football. He led the team in sacks and tackles for losses, not only here at Texas A&M, but also at Purdue, where he came from, where he wasn't on a very good team. He always is flying around the football, making plays. And then you asked about Matthew Golden, too. This is a receiver who I think is the best receiver in this draft. I know Ted McMillan, Luther Burden, some other trendy names. But what I love about Matthew Golden is he came in this season to Texas kind of under the radar. It was all about Isaiah Bond, who was transferring in from Alabama. And yet Matthew Golden finally came on, got the production you were looking for. Then he goes to the combine, puts down a 4.29 40, and everybody's eyes were kind of open to like, oh, this guy is pretty special. I think he brings a little bit of that chip on the shoulder mindset to him, having to earn everything he's been given throughout his career. I think he's going to carry that to the NFL and have a really nice career.
So those are the guys that you're buying in on. Let's talk about some prospects whose stock you're selling. And there's 3 guys you want to get to, but starting with the quarterback, Danny.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe is for me, where I'm just selling, where I don't even want to touch it. It's just too much risk for me. And it could be like back in the day, if you were you heard about this company called Google and you would have bought it, you could be a millionaire. Like, it might pan out, but it's a little bit too risky for me because there's also a lot of companies that you could have bought and they end up going out of business. I think he could be potentially a success in the NFL, but he really has to have a system that's tailored to him. He has to have time to develop as a passer where he's not naturally accurate. But the one thing that people start to fall in love with are the combine and his individual workouts. When he runs, an incredible 40 time at 4.39, what he's throwing solidly versus air, that has me concerned because when you put him on tape, there were way too many inconsistencies with basic reads, like the one we just saw here. That throw should never be made. He also missed a lot of wide open receivers, and he was great on the deep ball, but just the lack of consistency and not being a really natural throw of the football has me concerned. If a team does take him, they're going to have to tailor a system to him, kind of like they did in Anthony Richardson with the Colts. And the jury is still way out on whether that's going to be a success story or not.
And what about some of the other guys like Kelvin Banks?
Kelvin Banks, so I like Will Campbell better. So that's where I kind of had as my first left tackle overall. But with Kelvin Banks, there were a couple things that concerned me why I sell in his stock. I put in the tape against Georgia in the regular season. So you want to put in the best competition you face. While he faced them, he gave up 2 sacks, missed a couple of blitz pickups. Was a big part why Quinn Ewers struggled in that game, the protection on the backside. I really wish we could have seen him have a rematch in the SEC championship game, which we didn't. The other thing I'm starting to hear from a lot of people is that, oh, well, maybe he's a guard eventually. Initially, when you talk about somebody having to switch positions because he doesn't naturally fit in the position everyone wants him to be as a left tackle, that's concerning for me. So I'm selling my Kelvin Banks stock as the best offensive tackle in this draft, where I'm all in on Will Campbell.
All right, finally, let's get to some prospects that we want to hold on, and we have to go towards the top of the draft boards for some of these guys, including Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. DK.
So, Jacqueline, I'm noticing that there's starting to be a consensus among all the mock drafts. And so I'm kind of solidifying that and holding these positions because I do think Cam Ward is going to go #1 overall to the Titans. I do think Travis Hunter is going to go #2 to the Cleveland Browns. I do think you're going to see Abdul Carter go 3 to the Giants. And I think you're going to see Will Campbell go 4 to the Patriots. And all of them, I think, are exactly what the teams need. This is why I like them going to those positions. I think they're all the best available at their positions. So I'm holding on to those stock and telling everybody. I have Giants fans hit me all the time. What should we do at 3? I'm like, if Abdul Carter's there, it will be a home run pick for you. Cleveland Brown fans are like, should we do something at quarterback? Not at 2, maybe in the 2nd round. But if you can get the best athlete available in this draft in Travis Hunter, you have to take him. And then Patriots fans are kind of like, well, where should we go? Should we shore up Drake May's, blind side? And I think Will Campbell's the most NFL ready, not only tackle, but maybe player in this draft to step on week 1 and be a day 1 starter and be productive and help Drake May develop as a quarterback with Mike Vrabel taking over as the head coach.
Danny, we certainly appreciate it. More draft talk as we were just 3 days away from that NFL draft. And of course, if we look at the schedule, the first round gets underway on Thursday starting at 8 Eastern, rounds 2 through 3. That's Friday starting at 7 Eastern. And then finally rounds 4 through 7. That is Saturday, April 26th, kicking off at noon Eastern. It is all going down again with the first round starting on Thursday from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.